Hello and welcome to another loosely scripted supplemental video. Today we're stepping outside of the Star Trek universe and instead talking about Mass Effect, specifically a Mass Effect live-action adaptation. Now, ever since the Mass Effect games became a hit, there has been a Mass Effect movie adaptation in development hell for years, with the latest news being that Henry Cavill was apparently in talks to play Commander Shepard in a new version of the adaptation. Whether this ever happens or not is still up in the air, but whenever this topic comes up, a large section of the Mass Effect fanbase always calls for a TV show of Mass Effect rather than a movie, and this is perfectly understandable. The Mass Effect games, after all, and the universe in general, is incredibly vast, with a massive ensemble of main characters and even more memorable minor characters. There are dozens of worlds, each with their own small stories, and many would argue a movie just doesn't have room to do the series justice. The channel Lessons from the Screenplay recently did a fantastic video about this, which I would highly recommend. However, for me personally, I don't actually think a Mass Effect TV show is currently possible. Now, make no mistake, I think a Mass Effect TV show would absolutely be a brilliant idea, but I don't think it's feasible right now. Many critics say we're living in a golden age of television, with long-running televisual novels being the norm, and big-budget, for lack of a better term, cinematic-looking TV shows. Game of Thrones, The Mandalorian, Star Trek Discovery, they all look like movie-quality productions, so why couldn't a Mass Effect TV show work in this climate? Well, even though TV looks really fantastic these days, a lot of this stuff still pales in comparison to the sheer scale of the Mass Effect universe. The amount of practical sets and virtual environments needed just to render the Citadel alone on screen would be gargantuan. Important strides have certainly been made, especially in The Mandalorian when it comes to virtual set software, but even with the $100 million plus being spent on single seasons of TV shows these days, any TV production would still be hard-pressed to capture the Mass Effect universe on screen. But for me, the breaking point is with the characters. The main Mass Effect cast includes numerous aliens with deliberately distorted proportions. The Asari, Batarians, Vorcha, and at a push, the Quarians could certainly be done practically, but when it comes to the Turians and the Krogan and other aliens like that, some kind of performance capture and complex animation is needed to bring them to life. This is certainly possible for TV with one-off supporting characters, but for regular main characters who feature in every episode, that would be a huge undertaking. See, as cinematic as television has gotten, the tight TV schedules and long hours have remained the same. 14 to 18 hour long days are not uncommon in the industry. This is a natural result of having to shoot so much material, and in fact the cinematic standard of modern shows has only made this problem worse, not better. Because now audiences expect 10 to 15 movie-quality episodes per year, which is an insane undertaking. Even with over $100 million being spent per season, these productions are still incredibly budget-conscious, and going over budget or behind schedule is rarely tolerated for TV productions. So even though visual effect technology has become more readily available to TV shows, there are still severe limitations imposed on these things for TV, which is why I think bringing the Mass Effect characters to life would be so difficult for a Mass Effect TV show. A character like Garrus alone would require an entire team with a full production pipeline just for a single shot. On-set supervision and performance capture, modelling, rigging, animation, simulation, and more. And that's just for one character. A Mass Effect show would need to do this for several other main characters and numerous supporting characters as well. Because of how tight TV productions are, I feel like this is a recipe for disaster when some studio number crunchers are going over the maths and they say, "We need to cut this Garrus scene." Considering how important the non-human characters in Mass Effect are, this problem has the potential to gut a lot of the stories in a Mass Effect show. It's not just that movies have a higher budget, it comes down to what I like to call the dollars per minute ratio. Let's look at Star Trek as an example. Both Star Trek 2009 and the first season of Star Trek Discovery cost roughly $150 million each. Star Trek Discovery has 15 episodes in its first season, with an average runtime of 45 minutes. Therefore, the dollars spent per minute for the show is roughly $222,222. Now, obviously, in a TV show, some episodes will cost inherently more than others, but let's compare that to the movie. Star Trek 09 is 127 minutes long, so dollars spent per minute for that movie is 1.18 million. That's a roughly 81% difference in the dollar per minute ratio. That's 81% more time and resources that can be spent bringing a character like Garrus Vakarian to life. The same goes for all the other characters in the universe in general. A movie can afford to have partly or fully CG characters in the main cast without having it significantly strain the production schedule or budget. But that begs the question, despite the bigger budget, how on earth can we fit an adaptation of these games into 3 2-hour movies? The answer is, you don't. You do it in 5 2.5 to 3-hour movies. It seems like during these discussions about a Mass Effect movie, everyone just kind of forgot that the Lord of the Rings movies exist. These are movies which feature a massive ensemble cast bolstered by even more supporting characters in a fully developed world populated by multiple factions and species, each with their own unique histories and motivations. Yet, The Lord of the Rings managed to portray all of this while still being an epic, thrilling, and emotionally resonant story, and a huge box office hit. Despite what Hollywood conventional wisdom would have us believe, audiences will happily sit through a long movie as long as it's good. Of the top 3 highest grossing movies of all time, the shortest is Avatar at 2 hours and 42 minutes long. Avengers Endgame and Titanic are both over 3 hours long. As for splitting the movies into 5 rather than 3, I'm pretty confident a tight, efficient script could translate the first game into a single movie, but when it comes to games 2 and 3, there's so much more material to get through, so it would be best to split these into 2 movies each in my opinion. Audiences happily sat through 8 Harry Potter movies and 21 Marvel movies leading up to Avengers Endgame. I don't think it's a tall order to ask people to watch 5 Mass Effect movies. More than anything though, just imagine what seeing the Mass Effect universe on the big screen would be like. The Citadel and the Reapers in IMAX would be absolutely spectacular. Good storytelling takes precedence, yes, but if you're gonna adapt Mass Effect, at least give that adaptation the resources to render that universe with the biggest and most epic scope possible, because it's a story that deserves it. Who knows, this Mass Effect movie may not ever happen anyway, but this video was just me throwing my hat into the ring of a fan debate I often see cropping up. Right now, I'd prefer to see an epic Mass Effect movie saga rather than a TV show. But what do you think? Agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you like these videos, subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on my new uploads. If you want to help the channel grow, join my patrons or my YouTube members, where you can see videos early as well as some other exclusive content. Speaking of which, I'd like to quickly thank all of my patrons and members who are now appearing on screen. Have a good one, and as always, live long and prosper.